everyone, welcome back to my channel. I am Kayla Nicole 999, and on this channel we talk about many different things. This video is going to be about suicide. It's going to be a tough video for me to get through. Before we jump into that, I'm going to be starting a new segment. After this video, I'm going to be starting a new segment on how I've been treating myself for mental health issues using natural supplements and stuff. I have ADHD. I have suffered from clinical depression for years, but that's not so bad recently. I have CPTSD. And I have terrible anxiety, but the anxiety hasn't been awful as of recently either. But we're not going to get into those topics today on this video. Before we do get started though, if you are new to this channel, I want you guys to know that I am a sex worker. I am a cam girl. I do make adult videos for websites such as Pornhub. So if you have a problem with that, I ask that you just stop watching. Okay, not gonna get into that in this video, but I do make videos about sex work. I do sex toy reviews. I make videos about narcissistic abuse. I'm going to start making videos about food intolerances because I suffer from those as well. Maybe dabble some spirituality in there. This channel is kind of all about me and who I am and many of the things that I've experienced throughout life and what I do for work. And so I want you guys to know that about me if you're just finding my channel. You know, I don't want you to be appalled when you see some of the other videos on my channel because they're out there. All right, so let's go ahead and just get started. I've basically just been feeling compelled to make this video lately. Maybe because I've been dealing with a lot of cyberbullying. And actually, I'm gonna say this right now too. If you are here to cyberbully me in the comment section, because I get a lot of cyberbullies on YouTube, and I don't know why you are targeting me, I will report you for cyberbullying, and I will block you so that you are unable to comment my videos. And I may leave you some not so nice comments in return, depending on what you say, okay? If you don't have anything nice to say, then move right along. You don't need to be watching my videos and you don't need to be commenting on my videos. There's no reason for you to be here. If you are here to be a cyberbully, if you are here to put me down, if you are here to put any of my other subscribers down, I do not want you on this channel. You will be reported and you will be blocked. Understand that. However, I welcome other comments. Even if you disagree with what I'm saying, you are welcome to comment and disagree with what I said. The only thing I ask is that you do it in a respectful manner, okay? I'm happy to have discussions. You don't have to agree with me, but you cannot get away with putting me down and attacking me. I don't know why so many men in particular choose to do that to me on this channel, but it's utterly childish, it's utterly ridiculous, and I will not tolerate it. Moving on. All right, I've been feeling compelled to make this video. I rant a lot on Twitter. Lately I've been talking a bit about suicide. Throughout my life, I have known of a total of 7 different people. Seven different people who have committed suicide since I turned 18. I'll be 38 next year. So in 19 years, I've known 7 different people who have committed suicide. And each one has been incredibly hard on me. Even the people that I didn't know well, their suicides affected me. Some obviously affected me more than others. And I'm about to discuss them all right now. It's a topic that I don't really talk about. It's something that I'm incredibly traumatized from because, sorry guys, I've suffered from clinical depression. I have experienced suicide ideation most of my life. I have attempted suicide multiple different times. My first attempt was in 7th grade. I literally overdosed on a bottle of Tylenol PM. I had been dealing with bullying at school. I had a friend, a boy who was only a year older than me, who was repeatedly raping me whenever I would go over to his house, and I never told anybody about it. I was dealing with a narcissistic mother, but at the time I didn't know that she had narcissistic personality disorder. And I wasn't handling things very well. And one night I decided I didn't want to live anymore. My mom and I were arguing, and I just couldn't take it anymore. And I went into the bathroom, and I opened up the medicine cabinet, and I got the bottle of Tylenol PM. And I swallowed the bottle. And then I immediately regretted it. Immediately. And I went and I told my mom, and she didn't believe me. She thought I was lying. I had to call 911 myself. Imagine a 7th grader. I was a child who didn't want to live anymore. And my mother didn't believe me, and I had to call 911 myself. And I was alert the entire time they were pumping my stomach. And the ER doctors were being mean to me. They had no compassion. They had no empathy. They were mad at me because I tried to kill myself, and they were having to save my life. I was a fucking kid. It's an experience I'll never forget. Did I become less suicidal after that experience? Oh no. But I was more cautious about attempting to commit suicide, you know? It went from, I'm gonna swallow a bottle of pills, to, maybe I should go drive my car off a cliff. Which I never actually attempted, but I thought about many, many, many times. I tried to strangle myself with belts, you know? I don't know why I tried that. It was stupid. It wouldn't have killed me, but when you want to die, you don't necessarily think straight. I've thought about jumping off the balconies at my apartment. I've thought about wrecking my car into the concrete barrier on the highway, doing 90 miles an hour. What stops me from that is I don't want to hurt innocent people. I haven't been suicidal in more than a year now, but it took me a really long time and a lot of work to get to the place where I am now. We'll get back to that later. I'm gonna jump into the first person I knew who committed suicide, and I'm not going to say these people's names. I mean, sure, they're no longer with us, but out of respect for, you know, their loved ones, I'm not going to say their names. He was a friend. He was a friend who I didn't know very well, but I hung out with a lot. But he was the quiet type, you know? My friends and I, we all hung out over at that house, and he was very outspoken against suicide. He was always telling us never to commit suicide, and if things ever get bad, just don't commit suicide, just don't do it. And it didn't register to us until after he put a gun to his head and he shot himself. But he was so outspoken against suicide because he had been suicidal his entire life. I was 18, maybe 19, I'm not really sure. He did it down by the river. Went for a walk. Went to, it wasn't even a river, I guess it was, I don't even remember if it was a river or a creek. I went down there afterwards with one of my friends. Like, we saw the spot where he did it. There was a bloody handprint on the rock. I remember that was left there, which was creepy to see. But yeah, I haven't spoke to anyone in his family really since because I wasn't close to his family. Attended the funeral. No one believed he would have ever committed suicide because he was so outspoken against suicide. I don't think anyone ever thought to ask him if he was okay. Never spoke about his problems. I mean, I knew he wasn't a happy person. That was obvious. But, you know, sorry, my dog is dreaming and making funny noises in the other room. That's why I smiled. Actually, now I'm trying to remember if he's the first person. Because the next person that I'm going to talk about is somebody that I worked at a restaurant with. And he was a close friend of my close friend's family, but I still didn't know him very well. I'm trying to remember. Outside of working at the restaurant with him for a short period of time, I didn't know him very well. I mean, I would see him around my friend's family's house, but you know, that was it. And my friend told me that he committed suicide. I honestly don't remember how old I was when she reached out to me and told me that he committed suicide. I don't remember if he was the first or the second now, to tell you the truth. Due to my trauma, I dissociate a lot. And there are whole chunks of my life that are just missing. But, so, we have two people, okay? Two people that I knew. The first friend that I mentioned, his death definitely affected me more than the other person that I just mentioned, because I didn't know that other person as well. But it was still like this, damn, you know, why did he do it? Why was he so unhappy? Why was he so miserable? Why was he so miserable? Feeling, I like the guy. He was a nice guy to me. Drawing a blank here. and too hard to write about it and then talk about it live on camera, sorry. Cam girl habit, saying cam, it's not the camera. Okay, I think I got it all. So we got the first two. I'm having a hard time because I'm not mentioning names here. So I want to say their names, but now I'm having to like go back and recall and then try to catch myself from saying their names. Okay, yeah, I got them all. Okay, so the third person was another person that I was not close with. But this one really affected me. I met this girl one time. I met her at a house party. She was the girlfriend of the person whose house it was. And my ex-best friend, who I am no longer friends with, if you watch any of my series on narcissistic abuse, my ex-best friend is the girl that I discussed in those videos. She has been stalking and harassing me for almost 3 years now because I inadvertently fell in love with one of her ex-boyfriends 2 years after they broke up. She's convinced him to leave me. She convinced all of my friends that I'm a terrible person. She was about to marry another man. But anyway, that's not what we're here to talk about. This particular night, we were at a friend's of her boyfriend's. We were at one of her boyfriend's friend's houses, if I could talk. And she was talking to the man whose house it was. Now, this girl, she has really big fake boobs. I don't know how else to say it. I'm a people watcher, so I was observing everybody in the room, you know. They were just talking. They were sitting on separate couches. One was sitting on a chair, another was sitting on a couch. They weren't even close to each other. But his girlfriend got really jealous. She went upstairs for a while. And then she came storming downstairs, screaming at her boyfriend for staring at my friend's boobs, which he was not doing. And everyone was just jaw-dropped, kind of staring at each other, not knowing what to do. So I decided to go talk to the girl and try to calm her down. And we had a conversation that entire night. It was mainly her doing all of the talking. She was telling me this outlandish story that was not believable, but I didn't have any reason to not believe her. So I listened, you know. I urged her to try to get some help, get into therapy, do something. I ended up spending the night at that house that night. My friend left. The next morning, the man whose house it was gave me and my other friend a ride home. And I never saw them again for a while. I never saw her again, actually. Her and I never saw each other again. But the man was friends with all of my friends. And him and I became Facebook friends and occasionally saw each other at parties, and eventually he broke up with her, and then him and I started dating. And when we went public with our relationship on Facebook, his ex, the one who lost her shit on him for staring at my friend's boobs, she didn't take it well. And she started creating fake Facebook accounts in order to harass me with. She would send me harassing messages. And I would tell my boyfriend about it. And then she would apologize. And this went on for a while. And then finally it stopped, and I thought, hey, the worst of it's over. My boyfriend, her ex-boyfriend, he had been paying her rent for a year after they broke up. We got together probably about 6 months after they broke up, I guess, and he was still paying her rent. We got together in late 2011. So he was still in contact with her, which didn't bother me, you know, he was helping her out. And then he and I went to Hawaii. It's my first time ever going to Hawaii. I enjoyed the trip. It was really nice. And he had to go out of town for business shortly after that. He was going to New York. And he was no longer paying her rent. Her lease was up. She was supposed to move out of her apartment. And I get a call from my boyfriend. And he tells me that his ex's father called. She's dead. She killed herself. That one fucked me up. Fucked my boyfriend up too. I was trying to comfort him, which was hard to do because he was across the country. I was trying to take care of myself. At the same time, I was blaming myself. I kept saying maybe if I didn't start dating him, maybe him and her would have gotten back together because they had been together on and off for 12 years before I started dating him. He had no intention of going back to her though, because she had been like that the entire time. Before she committed suicide, she had actually been diagnosed with narcissistic personality disorder. So in the 12 years he was with her, he didn't know that she had narcissistic personality disorder. Her dad told him that, you know, she seemed fine. She had a new boyfriend. She was supposed to move in with the new boyfriend. She was packing up her apartment so she could move in with the new boyfriend. I don't know how she did it. My boyfriend at the time, he's now my ex, he didn't want to find out what method she used. So I don't know how she chose to commit suicide. It took me a really long time to understand that it wasn't my fault. That she had been suicidal the entire time, the entire 12 years that she was with my boyfriend. She would have eventually done it. Even if they had stayed together, she would have eventually done it, you know? But it was still a very traumatizing experience for both myself and my boyfriend. So about 6 months after that happened, my boyfriend, the same boyfriend, he was going up to the mountains with some friends for a weekend. The particular friend that he was going with had received a gun for Christmas from his boss. This friend is a very unstable person. I don't want to get into the discussion on gun control. I come from a family of hunters. I am for gun rights for responsible gun owners, okay? But I knew that this person wasn't responsible enough to own a gun. So when I found out that he had a gun in his home, I said, I'm not going over to his house. I looked straight at my boyfriend and I said, somebody is going to die. He shouldn't have that gun. But my boyfriend was close with him and he continued to hang out with this person. I stuck to my gut. I stopped going to that man's house and I didn't go away with them. I used to go up to the mountains with them, but knowing that I stopped talking to him. That man and I had a lot of drama. He would get drunk and try to start fights with people. He is not a person who is mentally capable of safely owning a gun. He had a girlfriend that I never met. Right before they went on this trip, that girlfriend attempted suicide. She was in the hospital for a suicide attempt. I had a bad feeling about this trip, but that boyfriend never listened to me, so I didn't even try to fight him. I just let him do, you know? I didn't want him to go. So they went and they did their thing. And I had never met this girl. I had never met the girl that my boyfriend's friend was dating. I knew of her, but because I had completely stopped associating with her boyfriend, I had never met her. I go to visit my kid, and I'm driving back, and I hadn't heard from my boyfriend the entire weekend. And my best friend, my ex-best friend now, she contacts me and she says, hey, my boyfriend's friend just posted on Facebook like he just watched somebody kill themselves. And I said, what? I said, I need to get a hold of my boyfriend. So I'm frantically trying to get a hold of my boyfriend. I have no clue what's going on. Nobody is telling me anything. And I'm driving home. I have an hour-and-a-half drive ahead of me. I didn't think that my boyfriend would kill himself, but you know, those thoughts, they start running through your head. I don't even remember when my boyfriend finally contacted me and let me know who died. But he finally contacted me, let me know that he'd been with his friend, that he'd been talking to the police. His friend decided to take that gun to the mountains with them. His girlfriend had just gotten out of the hospital for an attempted suicide, and he took that fucking gun. I blame him. He should have known better. I don't like that man. I don't like him at all. I don't care if he watches this video. He's a terrible fucking person. That man used to start fights with me. That man used to be a terrible man to me. I've also heard that man hits his girlfriends from multiple different people. Multiple different girlfriends have said this. So from what I know, that man is a very abusive fucking man, and that gun should have never been around that girl. Did he pull the trigger? No. But if he would have had enough fucking common sense to get rid of that fucking gun, and especially not keep it around his suicidal girlfriend, then can I tell you she'd still be here today? No, I can't. But maybe she wouldn't have done it that night. He is the one who took the gun. She would not have had a gun if he did not choose to bring that gun and just leave it laying around in the hotel room. I understand he's probably traumatized from this too, but he is a person that I do not like at all. She is now gone. And I did not know her mother at all, but her mother later committed suicide, not long after her daughter committed suicide. I didn't count her mother on the list of people tonight, so technically with her mother, I mean, that would be 8 people that I know of who have committed suicide in the last 19 years. The next one was a man that I never met in person, but multiple friends of mine were close with him. And we weren't Facebook friends, but we did interact. We had a really long conversation, a really nice conversation in Facebook messaging one night. He's somebody that I would have liked to get to know better. He seemed like a really great person. His death didn't affect me as much as the other ones because I didn't know him, but it definitely affected quite a few of my friends. So he's person number 5. Technically 6 if we add in the other girl's mother, you know. I had this really great friend. He was like one of my best friends, and I met him when I was like 18. He was the best guy ever. We were just platonic friends, but he was always there for me. Always there for me. He was my drinking buddy. He was my dancing buddy. Like if I ever needed anything, he was there. One night we went out and my now ex-best friend got really, really mad at me, and she got really, really mad at another person that was with us. Sorry, I just bumped the stand. Didn't mean to shake the camera. And she didn't have that much to drink that night, but she was mad, and she wouldn't tell me why she was mad. She wouldn't even admit that she was mad. And that person and I that she was mad at, we get in the car with her, and she wrecks her fucking car. Doesn't even make it out of the parking spot. I'm later realizing, years later, that she probably wrecked her car purposely that night because she was mad at me and the other person. She's been stalking and harassing me for 3 years. vandalized my cars. Had people, she couldn't do it herself, but she had people vandalize my cars because she's mad at me. So I'm pretty sure she wrecked her car purposely that night because she threw the car away like it was nothing. But anyway, my friend, my male friend, I called him because he had already left the bar. I called him, told him what happened, and he came and he rescued us all. He rescued us all. He was one of those guys that you could always count on. I got some terrible tattoos on my back. And it was his brother who did those tattoos in my kitchen one night. He did 3 tattoos on me. I only have 2 left because I had 1 removed. It was god awful. But 7 hours of tattooing in my kitchen. And my friend sat there holding my hand the entire time, you know? And it's a really special memory. And I got the 1 removed before my friend's death. I was gonna have them all removed. Kind of glad that I didn't get the other 2 removed, but they are so bad that I am gonna get them covered up. More into that in a minute. Anyway, he was always there for me time and time again. He was literally one of my best friends. He was just an incredible man. One of the last times that I saw him, we were at like an underground warehouse party, and we weren't done partying. He's not the type to party often, not like that anyway, but you know, we wanted to continue the party because we were having a lot of fun that night. And a group of people, they came up and they said, hey, you can come with us. We're going to continue this at somebody's house, but he can't come. And I just looked at them and I said, well, if he can't go, I'm not going. And I left with my friend. You know, I wasn't going to ditch him for some random people I just met at this warehouse party. Fuck that. Shortly after that party, that was the only time we ever went to a warehouse party together. You know, usually we would just go to like the bar, the club, normal stuff. But I wanted to go to a party that night, and I didn't want to go alone, and so he came with me just so I wouldn't have to go by myself. Shortly after that, he met a girl and got married, and he moved to another state, and life happens, right? It happens. So we grew apart. But then he tracked me down. I don't think my number had changed, so either he contacted me, I think he just contacted me. We reconnected. Didn't talk as often. He was married, kids, you know. He was doing the family thing. Then we reconnected in 2015 or 2015 or 16 on Facebook. We were both actually trying to do Beachbody coaching at the time. He had moved back to my state. Still married, you know. We were talking here and there, not as much as we used to. I mean, life took us in different directions, right? But we were reconnecting, and I was happy to have him back. But I was struggling, and I didn't tell him. And he never told me he was struggling. We'd known each other for so many years. Guess I was 31, 32 at the time. trying to think back to how old I was. I'm 37 now. In 2015, before I reconnected with him, I was in the psychiatric hospital because I was feeling suicidal. I spent a week in the hospital. And when I got out, I was trying to be okay, but psychiatric medications and me, we don't mix well. I was doing a lot of therapy. There was just so much trauma going on that I had never talked about with anybody, that I was having severe social anxiety to the point where I don't leave my house. I didn't leave my house. I was falsely diagnosed with bipolar disorder because I never told anybody, not my doctors, not any of the mental health professionals, not my therapist, not anybody. I never told them about the trauma. And the trauma wasn't just all of these people I had known who committed suicide. The trauma was, I have been sexually assaulted by more than 10 different men throughout my life. I was sexually abused by my foster sister. I grew up with a very abusive, narcissistic mother, but I didn't know she was a narcissist. I had dated a ton of abusive men. Didn't tell anybody about this, you know? I was still with a boyfriend whose ex-girlfriend killed herself. He was traumatized. I was traumatized. By this point, we were basically living together as roommates, you know? But trying to make our relationship work. And that was when my friend connected with me on Facebook, and I was happy to have him back. I loved him dearly, but I just wasn't really reaching out to anybody at that point. So I was in the hospital October 2015, and he found me shortly after that. I was really trying to get better, but I had decades worth of trauma to him. And then I see a post on Facebook. He was asking for help. He shared a GoFundMe because they were on the verge of losing their house, him and his wife. And I wanted to donate, but at the time I wasn't working. I was trying to go to school. I was still dealing with my mental health issues. I didn't even share the GoFundMe. I don't know why I didn't take the time to share. I could have at least done that. But I just remember seeing that, and I told myself, I really wish I could help him right now. But he always lands on his feet, because he did, you know? I had watched him go through so much stuff, but he always just found a way to get through it. He was one of the strongest people I had ever known. And I went off to school. And I kept saying, I need to reach out to him. My intuition kept saying, message him. And I kept saying, oh, I'll do it later. I'll do it later. And I pull in the garage one day. before I get out of my car, I get on my phone and I get on Facebook. And I see a Facebook post that says RIP. There's a picture of my friend who always lands on his feet. I was like, oh my God, what happened? So I frantically go to his Facebook page. And there's all of these RIPs, and I'm like, oh my God, this can't be real, but this is fucking real. And then I see one that said, I can't believe you decided that you don't want to live anymore. I can't believe you left us. And that's when I realized that he committed suicide. I was a fucking mess for 3 months. I used to be a cocaine addict. That was the first time in a long time that I really wanted cocaine. I tried to go get cocaine because I just wanted to be numb. I didn't have many connections. So thankfully cocaine wasn't easy to find. But it still kills me. His death was in September 2016. And I dread September coming around. I wish I would have been there for him. I didn't go to his funeral. I didn't know his family. Never met his wife. You know? I was friends with a few of his friends from way back in the day, but they were people that one of them was a woman that I had a terrible falling out with, and she was there. I didn't want to face her. Plus I was having all kinds of social anxiety, plus I was dealing with depression. So I chose not to go. Was that the best decision? I don't know. But it was the decision that I made. My now ex-best friend and I, we'd had a falling out for a few years, but we reconnected. And when I told her, she didn't even remember who he was. She didn't remember meeting him, and she didn't remember him coming and saving her ass that night. She wrecked her car. That still bothers me a lot. So in September 2018 is when I had the fallout with my ex-best friend. She knew the anniversary of my friend's suicide was coming up. But when she found out about her ex and me, she called me a piece of shit. She gave me the silent treatment for weeks. I finally just unfriended her on social media. And when she finally chose to talk to me again, she got mad at me for unfriending her, even though she had been giving me the silent treatment. We had one more conversation. It was via text messages. She told me that she almost jumped off of a cliff because I had slept with her ex-boyfriend. She told me that the fact that I had slept with an ex of hers almost ruined her relationship with her fiance. I was in love with her ex. I'm still in love with her ex. I've been heartbroken since September 2018. I haven't spoken to her since that conversation. She said a lot of awful things in that conversation, and I never wanted to speak to her again. Although I did tell her not to hurt herself because she has people who love her. Don't ever tell somebody to kill themselves. Doing so is not okay. I don't care how mad you are at them. Don't say that kind of thing to somebody. The week of the anniversary of my friend's suicide, I was about to be homeless. Didn't have a clue where I was going to live. My job situation was pretty unstable at that point. I was thinking I might have to find a new home for my dog, which was going to kill me. My grandmother had just gotten out of the hospital. She almost died when she was in the hospital, and I spent an entire week there with her in the hospital, not knowing if she was going to die in front of my eyes. And the anniversary of my best friend's suicide was coming up. I was a fucking mess, and my ex-best friend had somebody vandalize 2 of my cars. She then continued to stalk and harass me on social media through fake accounts for years. It's still going on. She had somebody launch a computer bot attack on my Facebook page. A year later, it's been an entire mess, but anyway, she chose to start that attack right before the anniversary of my friend's suicide. One of the people that was there for me when all of this happened was my aunts. I wanted to spend more time with my aunt, but I couldn't. I would spend as much time with her as I could. I knew she was going through some stuff. But she was coping with alcohol. And I don't drink as much as her. And I couldn't be around her because I was trying really hard not to drink, and I didn't have the money to spend, and I had to work. So she would invite me out, and sometimes I would go. Other times I would say no. My aunt is also a Trump supporter. Not here to talk politics, but I am not. And that man really triggers me. Triggers me so bad that I actually unfriended a lot of Trump supporters on Facebook because I was being so triggered by their pro-Trump post appearing in my newsfeed. I just had to make it stop. And so I unfriended my aunt. And I planned on sending her a new friends request after the election, right? I needed the politics stuff out of my face. Well, in 2020, February 2020, I got a call from my other aunt she asked me to go over to my uncle's. I said, why? And she said, your aunt killed herself. Your mom's over there. Please go over there. I had to say no. I lost it that day. But I had to go no contact with my mom because she's a very abusive person. And she still tries to physically abuse me even though I'm an adult. She verbally, psychologically, and occasionally physically abuses me, even as an adult. So the second I heard that my mom was over there, I had to tell my aunt, no, I can't go over there. And my family didn't know about the situation with my mom. So they didn't really understand why I said no. My ex-best friend, who totally destroyed my reputation and convinced all of our mutual friends to stop talking to me, she remained friends with some of my friends and my sister. And my sister posted a GoFundMe page for my aunt on Facebook. Do you think my ex-best friend reached out to me? No, of course not. We have each other blocked on Facebook. She has the goal to post on my aunt's GoFundMe page in the comment section to my sister, you and your sister are in my thoughts. I met your aunt once. She seemed vibrant. I would have never seen it because her and I have each other blocked. But my sister decided it would be best to send me a screenshot. I lost my ever-loving shit. First off, my ex-best friend never met my aunt. They happened to go to an event to feed the homeless together, but she never met my aunt. She observed my aunt from a distance across the room. And then she decided to talk shit about my aunt to me. She was trashing a woman she had never met. You know, my aunt and I weren't exactly getting along at that time. Her and I had a lot of ups and downs. But that doesn't give my friend, who never even met the woman, the right to start trashing her just because I had a disagreement with her. But she trashed her. She never met her. And for her to have the nerve to comment on my aunt's GoFundMe page like that, and to not even reach out to me, only to my sister, I fucking lost it. No matter how many times you lose somebody to suicide, it never gets any easier. I still feel massive amounts of guilt for unfriending my aunt because I never got to talk to her again. I didn't know. I knew she was struggling, but I didn't think she would ever actually commit suicide. Nobody did. I should have never unfriended her, but I had to for my mental health because her posts were triggering me. I can't subject myself as somebody with PTSD to things that are continuously triggering me on social media. I know it's not my fault. I'm not mad at these people. In fact, anyone who says suicide is for the weak, go fuck yourselves. It's not for the weak. I've sat with a gun pointed to my own fucking head. Do you know how much strength it takes to even put the gun to your head? These people are in pain. These people felt like they were burdens on their loved ones and on society. These people felt there was no other way to end their pain and their problems other than suicide. But they're not weak. They're some of the strongest people I've ever known in my entire life. And I will never be mad at them for not having the strength to live anymore. Why am I still here? Lately, it's been because of my dog. My dog's been keeping me alive. Before my dog came into my life, it was my kid. And my grandma and my grandpa. You know, I would find a reason to continue going on even when I didn't want to live anymore. But it was hell. It was hell. I've been doing a lot better, but that's because I've been using some natural supplements, and we're going to get into that on another video. We're going to do a whole discussion on my mental health issues. But I do a lot of research. And I didn't learn this in therapy. I can't even tell you where I learned this. But it was somewhere on the internet while I was researching mental health issues. And I came across this suggestion that said when you start feeling suicidal, ask yourself, do I really want to die? Or do I just want my pain to end? Do I just want my problems to be solved and I don't see another way to end my pain or to solve my problems? And I started asking myself that whenever I started having, suffering from suicidal ideation. And every time I came back with the answer that I just want my pain to end, I just want these problems to be solved. I don't actually want to die. And asking myself that question has helped a lot. If you are struggling with thoughts of suicide, please ask for help. You have people who love you. I can guarantee it. You have people who love you. There are people who are willing to help you. And you can get better. I used to think I could never get better. I'm not 100%, but I haven't been suicidal in more than a year. It's not gonna be easy. It's gonna take a lot of work, a lot of therapy. Maybe natural supplements might help you, maybe they won't. Maybe you need prescription medic. I don't know what you need. We all have different body chemistries, and you need to do what's best for your body chemistry, and I can't be the one to tell you what's best for your body chemistry. But pick up that phone and call somebody, okay? Because I want you here. The world wants you here. I'm going to end this video now. And I'm just going to end with this. I'm not even going to do the normal please subscribe or anything like that. I am emotional as hell right now. So I need to go distract myself for a while. Anyway, thank you for joining me. I hope you have a wonderful day or night or morning, evening, whatever time it is, wherever you're watching. And hug your loved ones a little closer. For me. Bye-bye. My remote doesn't wanna work for some reason. It's not ending the video.